Hello everybody and welcome back to Operation Logistics, where this is try number 2. The first time I got about 2 minutes in and then realized that my mic had been muted the whole time. So I stopped and we restarted. So what we have done so far is we have commented out the generate buildings here, and we also changed down here, we commented out this debug log, just to make it generate faster. That's the only thing we're interested in doing right now. So with this being done, I think what we need to do is we need to go ahead and when we click with the left mouse button, we can go ahead and generate buildings here. So that should be, actually, generate buildings hex store. Hang on, why are we passing that in? I feel like this should just generate all of the buildings in the biome hexes. So I feel like we don't, or rather we shouldn't need a biome hex here. That's going to cause some errors, 75 of them. That is probably the problem. This should be biome hexes. Except we should be in biome hexes. Which particular biome hex should we be in? Because we go through here. And we do that. I think this all needs to be in a for loop while we iterate through again 73 times and generate all of the biome hexes for this particular hex. Because we need a particular biome hex here for this to work, right? So the biome hex that we were passing in previously is the biome that we had just generated, which makes sense. I think what we can do is we can put this back to where it was, like this. And then we can, down here, do the for loop. So, for int I equals 0, I is less than biome hexes dot count, I++. And then we iterate through here, and we simply pass in biome hexes I. Like that. Okay, that should make this generate perfectly fast. It was taking about 2 minutes when we were generating all of the biomes at once. It was also taking about 8 minutes when the debug log was on. So, or rather 8 extra minutes. So it was taking about 10 minutes with that on, which is kind of unacceptable. But with this should be nice and fast. Only a few seconds. There we go. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and skip the tutorial, and let's see how broken this is. No errors. But it's also not populating the hexes. Okay. Actually, I want to check real quick and make sure that it's actually generating the buildings. Let's see here. Come on. There we go. Okay, so we're going to skip the tutorial. We're going to come on down here. And all of these should now be generated. So let's go into here. And let's find the hex that we have selected, which is this guy right here. Select that. Yep, I thought as much. Okay, so it's not actually doing this. It puts in the hex seed. Interestingly, it gives them all the same seed. That's something we may have to change. It's got these as biome hexes. It's setting the rural and the farmland. I think what we need to do, first things first, is I think we need to initialize these when we set up the biomes. So this right up here, this while loop, this guy here, I think we just take this, cut this out of here, get rid of the for loop, and do that up here. Like, right here-ish. When we're doing this. So, right like that. So that way we know for a fact that this should be getting done. Because right now it appears that it isn't getting done, and I'm not a fan of that. For one thing, the thing is, shouldn't that be causing errors? It feels like that should be causing errors when we try to generate the buildings. So are we just not generating the buildings? Okay, it is actually doing this correctly now. Excellent. Okay, that's progress. That is progress. So I want to check this hex here, which is the one right over in the corner over there. So let's get on out of here. Let's check this hex. And I actually want to be looking at, I think this one is hex 0. I'm noticing it's not destroying the building prefabs. That's something we can do later on, but I'm actually going to leave that the way it is right now. And I just want to check in here. Yeah, it's not actually generating these buildings. Although it is generating the rotations for them. That's intriguing. And presumably also the scale multipliers. But it's not setting them on a road. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. So let's go in here. And I would like to check, because we're passing in our biome hex here. And clearly this is not working for whatever reason. So like this isn't fully working. And I have to try to figure out why here. So biome hex.buildings building index. So our building index is grabbing from here. That should be fine. Biome hex.buildings. So essentially building.none should never come out, but it's always being building.none right now. So that's a bit of a problem. And one thing I would like to say at this point is that this right here, this is a temporary thing. We're going to have this building in a different thread, probably. And then have it be like, you can build it on demand, or it will automatically build after it gets to it. So the question then is, why are these buildings not being assigned? The only thing I can imagine is biome hex is not being passed correctly. But we're definitely passing in biome hex's I. And we know that the building rotations are being correctly applied. Because these are different. Well, these are the same here, but this one is different. And if it wasn't being assigned, like this one, they haven't... Uh-huh. Interesting. Certainly interesting. So yeah, I think it's pretty clear at this point that generate buildings isn't properly accessing biome hexes. And the question is, why? Everything else should, I think, be working. So generate buildings, biome hexes I. So we iterate through biome hexes here. Hang on a moment. This is when we're right-clicking. I am an idiot. Okay, we need to be doing this here instead. There we go. Let's see if that works. Okay, so that was at 10:39 in the recording, so this takes... 12, 13, 14, 15, around 15 seconds to generate. That's doable. Okay, and then we come in here, and that causes a bit of a hitch because it generates all of these at once. And then, okay. So it is generating the buildings. Now, it's not apparently generating roads. It has these, and I'm not sure why. And yeah, these are basically all the same, because it's all the same seed. Yeah. That's exactly what's happening there. It's all the same seed. So let's go ahead and make sure that we are changing our seed here. So, in our biome generator here, in our generate biomes, we should go ahead and say, let's see, seeds.add, blah, 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 blah. Where are we actually setting our biome hex seed at? That's my question. Hexstore seeds equals new list hexstore, random.init state biome seed. Yeah, that's fine. But once we're down here, I think we need to just go ahead and say something along the lines of biome hexes I dot hex seed equals random dot range, and this will be int dot min value and int dot max value. We need to capitalize that in. Okay. No, Windows, not right now. Go away. This is not the time for that. Okay, so at this point, it is still taking about 15 seconds to generate, and when we go in, it actually does take a little bit of time to generate all those buildings. But we should now have different seeds. Oh my. Transform child out of bounds. In vector 3 old scale go.transform.getChild.transform.local scale. Home hex on mouse over. So this is in the sub hex manager. So go.transform.getChild 0. Except that this is a building prefab. We don't know what building exactly. We're populating in buildings, and we can try to figure that out. We are currently... I can actually see... We're currently here. So, let's take a quick look here. Road intersection generics. So yeah, it's clearly not generating the roads properly. As far as this transform child out of bounds, I'm not sure what's going on there. But we will come back to that. I want to make sure the roads are properly generating first. So why are we not generating roads? If generate roads... if manager.selected subhex because there isn't a selected subhex. That's why we're not generating roads. I think we can go ahead and comment this out. I don't think that this is necessary to have right now. So if we run this, now we should be getting roads again. Assuming we don't have that transform child out of bounds going on. Come on. One of these days. Okay, so we will go ahead and skip the tutorial and head on in. Okay, transform child out of bounds. And we are getting that every time. Yeah, we're getting that every single time now. So in subhexmanager.populate buildings, line 1008. Well, all of our buildings do have a child, right? Not fields. Not clearings. Okay. I think I know the problem there. Maybe. If go.transform.childCount equals 1, then we do this. Else vector3 old scale equals vector3.1. Kind of like that. Except we're going to need to do vector3 old scale. Like this. And then like that. I don't know if that's the actual problem, but we'll see. We'll go ahead and recompile this. As for buildings not vanishing, I'm not sure what's going on there yet. They should still be doing that. It's going to cause a serious performance hit if they don't hide. So let's go ahead and check. Come on. That also explains why it was working in urban but not rural areas. Urban areas don't have any of those empty hexes. So like urban hexes here, it should work fine. Oh, no roads. Look at that. Okay. But we should also be able to come into... Nope. Transform child out of bounds again. Okay. That's certainly intriguing. So there are no roads. Why are there no roads? In what universe is generate roads not true? Okay, we're adding building.none. So that's not the problem there. I have to assume it's overwriting here. If biomehex.buildingsI is not equal to building.none, then we just break out. And we go on, right? I mean, that's the case in all of these biomes, right? But it was only happening in, like, farm or forest. Building.none, building.none. It wasn't happening in urban areas, right? It was only happening in rural? Let's go ahead and check this. Maybe roads are only generating in rural areas? I don't know. But we've got this a little bit broken. Let's go ahead and come down here. Yeah, all of these are working fine. Now, it does bear noting, this is going to be killing our frame rate. We're currently getting about 40 FPS. And now we're getting about 30 FPS. So this is not particularly viable. We're going to need to destroy all of those buildings eventually. But for right now, Yeah, it's only happening in rural areas. Oh, it's not happening in towns. Look at that. It's only happening in farmland and forests. So what is different about farmland and forests? Field, farmhouse, barn, forest, cabin, clearing. This is the only one, or the only two, that have these empties as kind of placeholders. So with that being the case, I have to assume that the problem is still with getting the child here. The simple solution here is just to add in an empty here. Create empty. And what was I calling these inside of here? I wasn't really naming them anything at all. So we just do that for the building clearing. And then in the farmland, for building field, create empty. I mean, that's the obvious solution. And then theoretically in the sub-hex manager, we should no longer need this. And then we could then just say, go back to the old code there. We'll see if that's the problem. That's the only difference in farmland and forests between the other biomes that I can tell. And then if that's solved, then we'll work on trying to get roads generating again. So let's come on in here and see what exactly is going on. Once it generates. We can also put generating the biomes onto a different thread, theoretically. We'll go ahead and skip the tutorial, and that's more like it. So that was indeed the problem. Okay. So now the question is, why are roads not generating? Well, if we come into here, I'm sure there's a reason. So let's check our roads up here. I really thought it would be because there wasn't a selected subhex. We're setting the sub-hex manager to be our position. Oh, hang on. This shouldn't be our position. This should be the biome hex's position. This is currently being set to the world hex position. Do we store the biome hex's position? Because we should. So let's head into our world hex here. And let's just take a quick look here. We do not. Okay, so in the hex store, we should have the public vector 3. Actually, we do have a position here. And I'm assuming that's being stored, but let's double check that. When we're doing this up here. So the sub-hex manager going to transform.position is fine. However, for the sub-hex manager, we need to make sure that our position is being set correctly. It looks like it is here. So we need to set this to be biome hex.position rather than transform.position. That's one thing. Now, I don't know for sure if that's going to completely solve that problem, but let's find out. That certainly won't help. So let's go ahead and do this. And of course, it's going to take a few seconds to generate all the biomes. We can put that in a different thread or put it in like a yield statement and have a loading screen if we want later on. But for right now, let's just hop on in here. Okay. Roads are still not generating. Also, these appear to still have the same seed, don't they? Let's check that. So we are in this hex here. And they do have different seeds. So are they generating based off of the wrong seed then? So init state biome seed. Yes, they are. They need to be initting off of biome hex dot hex seed. There we go. Now, as for why the roads aren't generating, I don't know yet. We will investigate that soon. There were two problems there that could have prevented roads from generating, but I don't... They don't seem to have actually been the core issue. So we'll have to investigate that and see what exactly that is. Let's skip this tutorial. Come on in here. Yeah. These are, in fact, different, so that's good. They're now correctly generating that way. But we do need to get our road hexes working properly. And of course, we're not coloring the hexes yet when we populate. So that's another thing to look into doing. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in here, and next episode, we will make the roads generate again. Boy, I hope that's a true statement. See you all then.